Well, today I thought I'd show you probably the easiest plants for your dollhouse. You're not going to find anything much easier than this. And they work very nicely, especially for plants that are kind of off to the distance, like in the corner of the room or something. So stay tuned and I'll show you how easy these really are. So why plants? Is that what you're wondering? Well, I've just about run out of room for produce. And if you've been following the blog, you know that the farm stand has a greenhouse on one side. So I thought I'd put plants for sale in there. So we'll spend a couple of weeks off and on doing plants. I've got some more produce, not a lot, but I'm going to do a couple more weeks with produce. If you've been following the blog, you've also seen the pictures of the farm stand, and it's getting really full. So we'll do, like I said, we'll do plants this week. We've got a couple more bits of produce. I've got a couple more plants. A couple have been requested. I'm going to try and figure out. I'll do my best. And then we're going to move on to something else after I show you a tour of how the farm stand turns out. So let's move on to making some plants. Alright, so the first thing we need is some pots to put our plants in. And you notice I have 3 different colors. This one was pre-painted. These two I painted. These two started out just like these, and I painted them. I've got 2 different colors because I noticed when I went through my paint drawer, I finally organized my paints, that I had 2 different colors of terracotta. So this is the Ceramicoat, and this one is the Americana. So whichever color you've got, it doesn't matter. This one's slightly different. It doesn't matter, as long as it's a terracotta plant pot color. Or you can also get, sometimes when I can't find the wooden ones, I actually buy real terracotta pots, and I'll show you when we get to show you some I've made previously that were made actually in those. Now to plant our plants, I've got a block of Floral Foam. It's made for silk flowers, or silk or dried, it says. I actually got this at Dollar Tree, so it's another inexpensive product. Any foam, I like a floral foam because it's already green. It's a dark color, so it's easier to hide, but you can use white styrofoam, any foam, it doesn't matter. You will need some dirt. Now I'm using my typical used dried coffee grounds. If you don't have coffee grounds, you can use some dried tea leaves work. You could filter out and get the finest parts of just regular plant potting soil. Those are both really good. Or you can go to the model railroad store and they have stuff that they use for dirt too. Now for our plants, a couple of different choices. I've got this Aquarium Plant, and that's what I use mostly for these plants. These are not meant to be, you know, like some kind of plant that you could actually identify. It's they're like just a generic plant that's in your house. And I got these today. There's a whole bunch of them, and we're going to cut these apart and use these. And also, when I was at Joann Fabrics, I got this one. What you need is something with small leaves. That's really what we're looking for, is just something with small leaves. Hopefully the camera's picking up what that looks like. If not, I'll get some photos and put on the site. And I also used this one on another one. I'll show you this plant in a minute. What else do we need? Well, if we want to put flowers in, you'll need materials to make flowers with. And we'll need glue. I'm just using regular tacky glue. We'll need some scissors to cut the plastic with, so don't use your really good scissors, use ones you use for paper and plastic. And that's about it. So let me kind of get this down to one pot on the table and I'll show you how to do this. Alright, so let's start by filling this pot. What I do is I just push it down and just push down really hard into the foam as far as you can and pull it out, and it will brings out the foam with it. And I like to push it down a bit more. And if it does that, we'll just do some more. The idea is we just need a good firm base of foam. And this stuff gets all over. Be prepared, you're going to have a mess. And you can use the top of a pencil or anything you've got that's kind of flat, because we want to pack it down so it's just below the rim of our plant pot. If you're seeing that, it's... Now, we're going to cover the top of this with glue. This next couple of steps have to be done one right after the other, because we don't want this glue to dry in between. So we're going to make sure the top of the pot is filled with glue. We're going to dip it into our dirt. And now we're going to find our plant pot, our plant pieces. So I just broke off a couple of the little chunks of the plant. And now let's see what we've got. Okay, it looks like this one is looks like this is all formed in one piece. That's fine. Cut off the bottom. And we need to cut off a few of these branches so that we can get this stuck into our plant pot. I like aquarium plants because usually they look pretty good. They're usually not too expensive, especially if you luck out and find a sale, which I didn't this time. And they're usually a good size for what we're doing. I'm going to cut up just a little further. I want a little more stem showing to stick down in that foam. That's better. Now I want a little bit of glue on it. Put a little glue on there and just stick it into the pot. You've got a plant. Let's do one more. Let's take this pot. Let's see if I can do a better job of getting foam into it. Again, push it down. Yeah, this is filled better. Oh, this one pushed all the way down too. It's okay. Doesn't have to be neat. It is better to push it down and put more in than to have it go down after we put our plant in. And this one I'm going to be filling up again. Come on. Some of that off of my fingers. Put some glue on the top. And at first the glue will want to come with your glue bottle and not stick, but it'll go on there eventually. I'm going to use a wet wipe and wipe off that excess glue. Now you can actually leave the glue on there if you want it to look like your soil has run over. That's fine. I don't want that right now, so neaten this up a bit. Because remember, your dirt will stick wherever there's glue. Dip it in the dirt. Okay. Now let's get this plant over here. Let's pull a couple of these off. Let's see how much we need. And we cut off this part that's hollow. We need to cut off at least part of it. And I like to cut at an angle. Let's put a pool of glue for this so that I can just dip. Since I'm doing more than one piece, it'll be easier. Now this does need to be done while that glue on top of the foam is wet, because if you wait until that dries, it's going to be really, really hard to push down through. And if you're having trouble pushing it down, I'll show you a little trick. Take something like a ball stylus and make a little hole. 10, I think that's plenty. So there you go. That's probably the easiest plant you'll ever make. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me clean up my mess and I'll show you a few more I've made, and then I'll take some pictures and put those at the end of the video. Alright, so here's the first plant we did today. And here's the other one. I think they're going to look really cool. When the glue dries, you won't see the glue anymore. Here's one I made out of this piece. I made this one. And these flowers, all they are is little chunks of wire that I dipped in glue, and then I dipped into this pink flocking. And you can use any color flocking to make flowers if you want to put flowers of that type. Then I've got this one. I made this, oh gosh, several years ago for a swap. These flowers are actually off of a stem of silk flowers, and this again is just an aquarium plant that I cut up. For this one, I wasn't able to get wooden pots that day. They only had the actual terracotta mini pots. And when I opened up my package, or packages, I had to buy several packages for the swap, a couple of them were broken. So I took advantage of that. I took one of the broken pots, and this one's been on display for one of my dollhouses, but I pulled it out to show you. I glued it in, I glued foam in, filled up the whole broken half, covered the whole bit of foam with glue and then with coffee grounds, and I made it go down over the side on this one because this pot obviously has fallen over. The broken off chunk, I just coated the inside with glue, put the coffee grounds in. The plant is just the same tops. The roots, if you look at a lot of aquarium plants, a lot of them have roots on them. We can use those too, and that's what this is. This is the roots off of this particular aquarium plant. So that's the plants I made for this week. You'll have to stay tuned and see what we do next week. Talk to you later. Bye.